And we are back with an all-new episode of Keep It. I am zero-time Grammy winner, Ira Madison III.
And I am Best New Artist 1987 winner, Louis Virtel. That's a reference to my girl, Jodie Watley. Thought we'd start there. 70, no, she's 87. 88 is for Tracy Chapman. Once upon a time, I knew this really well.
Well, you know what? Tracy Chapman was at the Grammys this weekend, and I feel like she is one of the people that we're talking about the most. This is our Grammys episode, by the way, so we're going to be getting into the ceremony, all the things that people were talking about.
And there were actually good for the Grammys, I have to say, because it felt like there were layers and layers of things that people were discussing and unpacking, which doesn't always happen with the Grammys.
We're going to get into the Grammys right away, but before that, we have a beautiful guest this week.
How did this happen to us? It's very shocking.
I think it kind of fits because we will be talking about a French goddess, Celine Dion.
True.
This week. So it's only fitting that we are joined by another icon of, the patisseries, as it were, Juliette Binoche.
Yes, maybe the most glamorous chocolatier of all time, I have to say. She's in the new movie The Taste of Things, which is an exquisite viewing. In fact, I don't know that any actress has been called exquisite more times than this person. I'm sure she is downright sick of it. I think we get into it too. But an amazing Oscar winner. Truly, I mean, like if you think of all the movies she's done over the years, everything from Certified Copy, Unbearable Lightness of Being, the Three Colors trilogy. She's just a staggering actress. And if I had to put a finger on what is so awesome about her, it is the immediate sense of interiority when she gets on the screen. The minute you are looking at this woman, you are seeing a thinking, feeling person. You don't have to be acquainted with whatever she's playing in order to get it. And I'm so psyched she joined us this week.
And let's just say she clocks us both.
Quite, yes.
Usually Louis and I are the ones surprising a guest with, oh my God, you know that film or you know that fact about me, but there are 2 points that I feel like she said, I don't know about that one.
Well, she reminded me of a press cycle about a specific movie I had was not aware of, and you will get into it because I fucking love the movie too. So anyway.
Yeah, well, I mean, you weren't reading Cahiers du Cinema in middle school, Louis?
Which is crazy. You would think that was like my actual textbook that they gave me, but...
So we have Juliette Binoche, obviously. So that's coming up later in the episode. But first, these Grammys.
Right. First of all, I want to say there was a lot of smart mouthing out there. A lot of lip, if you will, about people saying like, oh, if you really enjoyed that Annie Lennox tribute to Sinead O'Connor, make sure to get your prostate exam or whatever making fun of gays for being old. I'm so sorry. This ceremony was a huge win for Gen X. Right in a row, Tracy Chapman, Annie Lennox toasting Sinead O'Connor. Joni Mitchell's not Gen X, but her music is, I think, still a milestone for anybody, 35 and up. They were definitely the best parts of the ceremony. And I say this really appreciating the people who came afterwards. I enjoyed the opening Dua Lipa performance. Miley Cyrus gave a great performance. Her speeches were even better. But if you came away from that ceremony not thinking, oh, those legends deserve to be legends, I mean, open the schools.
Well, I would also say, and when we get into her particular performance as well, Miley Cyrus is actually maybe the only performer who was giving that Gen X legend quality.
Yes.
She was giving VH1's Divas Live. She was wearing a Bob Mackie dress. Like, she really stepped into her element with the whole look, with the performance, with the sort of devil-may-care attitude that she had when she was accepting her awards, the reverence that she was paying to Mariah when she first went up, her speech about I don't really care about this because I had a beautiful day prior to this. Like, that felt like a star, a classic star, and it felt like something we aren't really getting from current people who are performing. You know, like Dua isn't really at that level yet, because let's start with Dua Lipa. She opened up the show with Houdini and a preview of Training Session, her new single. It looked good. She looked she was actually killing it with some choreo. I love that she gets better each time we see her.
Right.
I love that she is truly coming from that school of I want to improve each time. Because if you remember her during Hotter Than Hell, when she was playing in the London clubs, when we were first seeing her when you and I first saw her at Palladium in Los Angeles, the girl was not giving.
No. The languidness has elevated to beautiful languor, which is elevating now into, some briskness in the choreography. Right. Even I saw a hint of brisk.
Shantae, she is staying when at first she was a sachet.
Right.
But I still want to say that she opened up the show and she is one of the lesser topics coming out of Sunday.
No, tough ask given the amount of legends that followed. But you're right.
Course.
Like I think the problem is it was a good performance, but also standard, like something you would see maybe at the VMAs or the Billboard Music Awards or whatever. Whereas a lot of the things that we're talking about at the Grammys were elevated in a way where it could only happen on the Grammys stage, which by the way is good for the Grammys because I don't find any award ceremony easier to trash. Just in terms of like who has too many awards. Who's underrepresented. I'm a little astounded that Taylor won Album of the Year, even though when you look at the sales and the year she's had, given that she's Times Person of the Year and she's the only entertainer ever to have won that, her largeness, it's incomparable how large she is. And so it kind of makes sense ultimately. But at the same time, there is nobody out there, and there is no Swiftie in particular, who thinks that's her best album.
None. Okay, not unless you're one of the deranged ones who are sending death threats to people like our friend Jackson Rickett.
He loves Taylor Swift anyway.
No, he posted out. He posted that Midnights was like mid or something, and got several die faggot emails the next day.
It's just so nice to know that people care, getting a die faggot every once in a while.
You know what? I miss that era. Okay? I used to get those at BuzzFeed all the time.
Oh, excuse me. The time I said Lady Gaga didn't deserve a Best Actress nomination for House of Gucci. Oh, the die faggots came fast and they came furious.
But
Joker Folly Adieu in my inbox.
I think that getting back to Dua, I think that Training Session also is not giving me memorable songs.
No, well, again, we said that Houdini had fourth single energy, which is tough because it's the first single, even though it's catchy and grows on you in the way that Dance the Night from Barbie did. The second single,
I wish we'd gotten more of that, actually.
Right. Mm-hmm.
I we got a little snippet of Dance the Night in between both of those songs, but I would have rather heard that song. But I guess she's saving that for the Oscars.
Right, we'll see what happens there. I wouldn't know. I'm not behind the scenes. Why would I, Lewis, know anything about that? Moving on. Also,
I know you got a lot of tea.
Right. The problem with Training Session also is, didn't she kind of do this already? Like, we had the, workout video. We had that.
Physical.
Yes. Like the lightly, slightly speedy yoga is kind of her vibe. And I think we're doing that again. This
is really giving Emotions B-side energy.
Yes.
It's
lovely
all
songs.
Of these songs.
Yes.
No, of course. And honestly, I think that the Emotions B-sides, a lot of those were better than some of the songs on Emotion.
Mm-hmm.
But I still feel like every Dua thing that we're hearing now sounds like it could have been on Future Nostalgia.
Definitely. And again, it's not like we're teaming with disco-fied music at the moment, so I'm almost embracing that we're getting these things that sound just like they belong to earlier sessions. But at the same time, repetitiveness is repetitiveness. So, I can only say it's a B+ ultimately.
And there's the stagnancy that I feel like is happening within pop music in general, which is sort of why there was this backlash to Midnight's winning, because Midnight's, if we just get into the Taylor of it all now, Midnight's is, I would put it as she's had 10 studio albums so far. She announced the 11th, The Tortured Poets Department, which is coming out.
The Tortured album title, yes.
Girl, I dropped that as a major in college. Okay, I said, you know what? I'm good. Let's do theater. I also the cover isn't even giving Tortured Poets Department. Which poet is that? Sylvia Plath?
Yeah, right. And also, it's maybe it's meant to be cheeky, but at the same time, it just sounds.
It's giving Tumblr.
It's so middle
the cover
school.
Is also
it's so high
Tumblr.
school. Yeah. It's just we're in our mid-30s now. Can we move into we're just legitimate writers and stuff? I don't know. I did not think it was a great Grammys for Taylor, even though she won Album of the Year. It was not a great Grammys for her.
No, the title is giving. I can't remember the exact title, but it's giving. I came up with the idea for a play festival that I wanted to do in college once, and I remember telling my best friend at the time, a roommate, Luke, the title, and he looked at me and he said, "No, I don't think so." And that is what it's giving. If you tell someone the Tortured Poets Department, it's giving. Let's go back to that drawing board.
Yeah,
it's giving college. It's giving college writer the first thing that they're ever like really proud of putting out there.
It's a bit Baroque for her. She always has these like simple titles, right? You know, Everything Is Red or Fearless or Folklore.
I will say that she did drop the song titles, and the album is featuring Post Malone, and it is featuring Florence Welch, and one of the producers on the album is
Quincy Jones? No, probably not.
Louis Bell, who's worked with Post Malone and has also done Afterglow by Taylor Swift, Circles with Post Malone, Miley Cyrus' Angels Like You. So I'm liking that vibe of the album. I mean, I'm a postal worker. As soon as Post Malone was announced, I said, okay, you know what? I'm up. I'm sure I will actually like the album, to be honest. It'll probably be better than Midnight's, hopefully, because at least from the song titles, it seems like this is the breakup album.
Got it.
This is the I'm dragging the hell out of him. Like she has song titles like But Daddy I Love Him, I Can Fix Him, So Long London. She's about to go in.
Right, and allegedly it may be a play on the fact that Joe Alwyn, her ex, and Paul Mescal, and somebody else whose name is escaping me right now, were in a texting group called the Tortured Man's Club. So it may be a play on that. And as you know, there are no coincidences with words and numbers in the world of Taylor Swift. So you know what I will say?
Don't tell me that though.
I know.
I don't need, that's so uncool of Paul.
Yeah, right. By the way, I just watched a video of him, a promotional video for All of Us Strangers, where he and Andrew Scott are playing a game together. I actually had underestimated how fucking huge Paul Mescal is. Intimidatingly
He's
muscular.
big.
Yes, I was like,
have you seen him sit in a chair?
Right. No, the chair is like help. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we get a lot of Paul Mescal content online. If you follow Jeremy Harris on Instagram, he is a one-man Paul Mescal blogger, and that is the only time you actually see videos of him. Actually, so whenever say they pop up on film updates, they're usually coming from Jeremy's Instagram. But you see him sitting in a chair like for his birthday, and it was giving BFG,
and not in a Mark Rylance way. I will say though, so immediately when Taylor Swift won her first Grammy of the night, she went up to the podium and started pimping this album, dropped the album title and the release date. Can I tell you something? I don't know that. Yes, I am going to defend it because I do think the Grammys are explicitly commercial. Like we are all here to say, go and buy the music. You know, and we exist, and our industry is dying. Please help us. So I kind of do like that she had it prepared. I just wish, couldn't she have been like a little funnier about it or something? There's like the way she pimped it was like she goes up there and she's like, "This is my 13th Grammy. Have I ever brought up before that I like the number 13?" Stop pretending these are like in jokes for like 4 fans or something. It's like the entire world is drowning in these references to your minutia. Oh, it's
You're
so
holding
boring.
Gotham hostage
every
other week. Okay, we're always trying to solve these riddles. Listen, the thing about announcing this album title, and this is why the tide started turning against Taylor at the Grammys, and I feel like she had a bad Grammys. She, one, is just constantly sort of oblivious to her privilege as a white woman, and sort of oblivious to the fact that people are getting a little tired of her capitalistic tendencies. And I feel like for a night that was about celebrating people like Tracy Chapman, Joni Mitchell, and giving reverence to just the music industry in general, and having these great nights for people like Victoria Monet and Coco Jones, and people, even Boy Genius, who I don't really care for, but this is a night where it feels not like the Billboard Awards or the VMAs, where you would announce something like that, and I feel like that's what she announced the last time that she was, because also she's done this before,
right?
By the way, so it's not new, and it just felt commercial. It felt crass. It didn't feel in the spirit of the night. She announced it, and I'm sure everyone else there is like, "Okay, girl."
And also,
she is, I know that the Grammys, everyone is watching it, but she is the one pop star in the world who does not need the fucking Grammy stage to announce an album and get all the eyeballs on her. She could whisper it in a restaurant and it will be on every outlet in 2 minutes.
Yeah,
we will
are right.
all hear about it. So the fact that she just went up there and is using this as a moment to talk to her fans about this, it's giving Nicki Minaj.
I was gonna say it's giving Gail Weathers. It's giving by the book. Yeah,
it is Gail Weathers. I'll send you a copy.
Yeah.
But it's giving Nicki Minaj, and I don't mean in the deranged, making fun of a woman who was assaulted by her romantic partner,
yes,
and then shot by him, and sending your fans to damage her mother's grave. Last week when we talked about the Nicki Minaj and Megan shit, some people were like, maybe they're being a little bit too light about this. I think that Megan's being light about it too, and she got #1 on fucking Billboard now.
Right.
Like, she doesn't give a fuck. And Nicki has now retreated to doing Instagram lives of her tour rehearsals, trying to get people to come and see this show.
Right.
So
suddenly,
I think
the reindeer games are being played by Nicki. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
To quote her, reindeer games.
It's Nicki behavior. It's Sagittarius behavior, to be honest, if I want to get into the astrology of it.
And I don't.
But this whole idea of I'm getting on stage and I'm talking to my fans in code is there's one way to thank your fans. Miley said, "Thank you for my fans because my fans have held me down, and that's more important to me than having a Grammy." And because she got her first Grammys that night.
Right.
But there's just something about, you are the most powerful pop star in the world right now. Most powerful celebrity currently, to be honest. Movie, music, anything. Sports. You've already dominated sports. Maybe the most popular sports player at the moment is your boyfriend.
Yeah,
and
right.
You are more popular than him, And so the idea that, like, hi, here's my new album. It's like, girl, we get it. Like, I'm going to buy the album, but
right.
Did you have to do this now? Like, give us a speech. Give us a speech that is funny. And when you get to the Celine Dion of it all,
right,
that is actually my main problem with the Celine Dion thing is that, first of all, people are being crazy on both sides of the coin. Okay, there are a lot of heartfelt speeches from people about how she disrespected Celine Dion, this white woman, she wasn't raised well, etc. I'm like, okay, girl. I mean, she pays deference to people all the time. I don't think that it was an intentional slight.
Right.
Towards
No,
Celine
she
Dion.
didn't want to push Celine Dion off the stage. Yes.
No.
Right.
Okay.
If she did do that, though, I mean, it would be terrible. Funny. I mean, funny, though. Given how, like, everyone's kind of walking on eggshells around Celine. You know what I mean?
She's like, I've never liked that bitch. that actually would have been a gag.
Well,
that would have been a gag.
I'll let you finish. My dream is for Taylor Swift to sabotage the extreme following she has, right? Just to be like, I hate these people, and now they're going to be pissed at me now based on the decisions I make. And I think she should turn to violence. I think it makes sense. Anyway, go ahead.
You go to like an old school movie or something where they would have a recording of someone backstage. That's how people used to lose elections in old movies back when we pretended that we cared about elections and electing good people.
Right.
It'd be just be a recording
tell-all
of her.
tape
That way, someone turning on her mic and it blasting across the whole Grammys.
Yeah.
It's like, I can't stand those fucking Swifties. They're gonna go buy my fucking. That would be fucking funny. But the Celine Dion of it all is when you watch this video, and I was doing the play-by-play, okay? You know,
John Madden,
I know my football,
yeah.
Okay? Unlike last week when I named someone who is no longer on the 49ers.
Oh, yeah.
And people said, Ira, what do you know about football? And I said, absolutely nothing, okay?
No, my own brother messaged me, said, so does Ira not know those people are on the team? I'm like, girl, I don't know either. Don't even bring it up to me.
But when you watch the video, you see her rushing up there. She's excited, obviously, and she wants to get out there and do her speech. And that, I think, is inherently the disconnect with Taylor Swift. And maybe that is a bit of awkwardness and insecurities on her part that still pop up there when she's in these settings, even though she's been up there multiple times before and she'd already been up there that night. Her mind just is sort of just one track, right? With, I'm up here, I have to do this speech, I have to deliver it, and, you know, like, I'm going to say what I'm going to say, etc. You know,
and engage my extremely engaged fans. Like, she's very, like, here I am to read the children's book to the children. Yes.
Right. There's always, I believe that she loves Celine Dion. Obviously, she was singing along to the song. She knew the words. When Celine her walkout music was happening, but there's just something about it never crossed her mind immediately in the way that it would cross a lot of people's minds. Like Celine Dion, oh my God. And then she calls you up on stage. Like for anybody else, I would be like shaking. I would be like, I'm meeting Celine Dion, you know? And she is giving me an award. Also, like she's come back from like what we thought was near death, you know?
Right.
Like that is a moment.
I will say sympathetically, when you win Album of the Year, all these people come up on stage, like the producers and stuff. So you have a lot of socializing to do in that moment. You want to say hi to everybody. That said, the figure that Celine Dion cuts when she enters a room, and by the way, you don't know if she's ever going to enter a room again. We don't know what's up with her, what's happening with her life. The updates are all kind of harrowing. She seems to be harrowed by it. There's like a stricken kind of fearful look just about her anyway. I do feel like top of mind in that situation when Celine Dion is there. And I don't know, it's like seeing Jack Nicholson or something. You know what I mean? It's like, oh my God, I can't believe you're here and you're around and you're a part of this or whatever. I do feel like it's hard not to be like, how did you not give her like a little bit of a moment right on stage then? But at the same time, there's so much going on. So I don't know that I can really pin it on her one way or the other, but it was questionable because she went right into the shtick of what she does. You know what I mean? Yes. So it was that one, what you were watching was the one track mind thing. And also she did make the attempt to be like, I'm toasting other artists, like, but what she did was drag Lana Del Rey on stage, and Lana Del Rey, you can see in her eyes is like, you're making me a prop right now. You know what I mean? Like it was not joyful that entire moment, and then the skipping Celine was like the insult to injury.
She's basically bad at improv.
Yeah, right. And by the way, it's not improv. She does a lot of planning. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So, yeah.
She's very methodical, and I think that for her, she's unable to be spur of the moment.
Yes.
To be honest, you know? Even when she's being cool and funny in, like, public in front of cameras, it still feels very much like she's planning it, you know? Like, you saw the backstage stuff of her, like, putting the Grammy on Lucy Dacus' head. I'm like, this will be funny. This will be a cool photo. Or, like, Jack, you're being weird. Like, come over here. It's like, it's very much like, it'd be cool and funny for me to get this photo to show that like we're having a good time, so let's do that. And I think that's where her mind goes. Lana not coming on stage at first and then hiding there, that was also throwing off because she's like, Lana Del Rey, she's hiding.
Lana Del Rey was like, I'm gonna do it like a dive roll off the stage. And she just she fully was like stop, drop, and rolling out the exit.
Right, but I think it's really just that's the combination of not being able to improv, because anybody else, even the most disrespectful people in the industry, like that, like Nicki Minaj, you know?
Yeah, right.
Someone who's been like a psycho this past week would get off the stage, and even if you're not going to do a full like, oh, I'm bowing, like deference thing, like you get up there and you are like, Celine fucking Dion, clap for her. And that's not even just, it's not even just like a social norm to know. I feel like it's an industry norm amongst not just musicians, anybody. You know, like when an icon like comes out or something at the Oscars or something and you win an award from them, sometimes people, if it's like one of your regular contemporaries, sure. But you know, if like someone older like comes out and they're right there and they're giving you something, you're like, oh my God, like give it up for them.
And I think also a big thing is comparing her to Miley, who did all of the things we're describing, which is Mariah Carey gives her the award. And by the way, Mariah Carey, how do you not pronounce Miley Cyrus correctly? What is happening there? She said Murray Cyrus or something. It was I was at the dentist minutes ago, whatever came out of her mouth. But Miley Cyrus goes up there and she's thrilled, and she is definitely joking around, and being funny is just a part of who she is. Like, she'll be funny no matter what. We were describing this quality last week with Nicki Minaj. Like, Nicki Minaj will be going to like the jail for war crimes, and she will be joking on the way there. That's how it goes. Okay, give it 1 year. But Miley Cyrus was so funny again and again while being reverent. Like, she had Mariah Carey right there, and you know, it's like, so she's doing all these things so we know it's possible. And then in the second minute, we have Taylor Swift there to compare that to.
I'm sorry. They got me on Guantanamo, y'all. Barbs, make sure hashtag Guantanamo City.
The original Gag City, Guantanamo.
Obama said he was going to close down Gag City, and he never did.
Right? No.
Another campaign lie.
Promise is broken.
But anyway, I thought people were doing too much with the Taylor Swift of it all. But I do want to lastly say that there were more essays, obviously. Everyone's always doing an essay about this woman. And I feel like people were talking about there's this backlash coming to her, and which is she doing this backlash because Reputation Taylor's version is coming out? I'm like, I don't think she's that calculated.
I see.
She's not.
No.
I really think that this was a unexpected, like, people were dragging her for this, and I think that she got that picture quickly. Tree Payne was backstage like Olivia Pope and said, you get this photo with Celine Dion right now, and you put it out there, and it worked like gangbusters because every Swiftie was in the comments of every single person
they had time?
who was critiquing her with that photo. They were dropping it. They like, nice narrative, they love each other. I'm like, okay. Get back to the Tostitos pizza rolls in the kitchen before they burn.
And one last sympathetic note to Taylor Swift: re-recording Reputation must be annoying as fuck. This came out like 4 years ago, and she sounds the same, and it's just gonna sound the same. I mean, that's a real challenge, I think, to reintroduce that album that still sounds like it could come out in 2024.
Also, it's my favorite album of hers, so
I think that's the one that really elevated your fandom. That really is her art pop in terms of you either committed harder or you shrank a little bit when it came out. As you know, the choreography, which I believe was done by Julia Stiles in the film Save the Last Dance, took me aback a little bit.
Well, Taylor, I'm looking forward to the Tortured Poets department. I'm looking forward to Reputation, Taylor's version. It's actually the one Taylor's version I have been looking forward to. I think, and Fearless too. I don't really need Taylor's version, but I'm sure we'll get it. But good luck, and don't fuck it up. All right. When we are back, there's still so much more Grammys to talk about. All right, we're back with more Grammys chat, and let's kick it off with our returning Grammys host, Trevor Noah, who was looking good as usual. And I will say, I liked his Grammy stuff better this year. It was a little bit funnier, and he wasn't haranguing Beyonce the entire time.
Right.
And I also think that's why Beyonce showed up for like 10 minutes. She showed up for Jay's speech, and then if you look at the tweets, of people who were there, say that basically she did a meet and greet. Like, there was a queue of celebrities waiting to get their Getty photo with Beyonce, and then she was like, "Let me get out of here."
Right.
Trevor this year, without his having, because you remember last year there was this whole, if Beyonce wins, she will be tied with, et cetera, et cetera. And it's like, okay. And he did that same thing with Taylor at the beginning, but he only did it once.
He was giving the carnival barker from They Shoot Horses, Don't They? Which is one of the grimmer roles in cinema history. Gig Young, scary guy. Read that wiki sometime.
They shoot Swifties, don't they? What if we name the episode
You
that?
need to not do that. Okay. Yeah. I'll build my bunker today. Yeah.
Cut that. They're definitely not going to cut that.
No,
they
right.
want me dead. But Trevor Noah, I thought, was funny this time.
I will say this. It always surprises me the tenor with which he hosts the Grammys, because it's so different from when he hosts The Daily Show, where his tone is very sardonic and even keel, whereas when he's hosting the Grammys, it is lounge host. I am walking around from table to table. I'm asking you about your order. Where are you from? Here comes this person. This person can't even sit down because I'm screaming at them. It's such an interesting tactic it's like, I don't know. You don't have to do that much. We're already overwhelmed by the environs of the room. I don't know why. It feels like a nervous tick or something. I'm not sure really why he picks that literally decibel level to address the crowd with. The jokes, I thought some of them were okay. To me, it still felt kind of first thought, like not really super different than the Joe Coy thing, except Joe Coy's approach was disastrous. Mm-hmm. I just feel like he can do a little less. He can do less.
The Grammys don't really lend themselves to making jokes about people the way that you do the Oscars or the Globes. I feel like our musicians are a bit more thin-skinned.
Yes, and stan culture runs the Grammys. Yeah,
stan culture and musicians are thinner-skinned, if you can believe it, than actors. Because actors are at least used to that's a tradition. You're lightly being roasted or whatever. You can't roast an artist. What are you going to be like? Well, you don't have any Grammys, Katy Perry.
We start the show with that. Yeah, first words out of his mouth.
But moving on from Trevor, we already talked about Dua Lipa. SZA, another big moment of the show, and another sort of a disappointing moment, I guess, her not winning Album of the Year for such a big year that she had. Because if you're talking about someone who also had a humongous year, SZA really did.
Yeah,
right. Like SOS was everywhere, and culturally, I'd say she's right up there last year with Beyonce and Taylor in terms of people are talking about this album. But, I feel like it's definitely more of a millennial Gen Z vibe of an album. And so, of course, the old Grammy voters aren't connecting with SOS as an album. That's another problem that, I guess we should address too. The Grammy voters are not like the Oscar voters. They're more akin to the HFPA as they used to be, in that no one knows who the fuck these people are.
Right. No, and again, it's like, it definitely sways much older too. I unfortunately, the definitive moment is that they would pick Harry's House as Album of the Year. To me, that felt like, oh, we've heard of Harry Styles. Yes, we like that one song. Yes, of course we are going to vote for him. We understand that, as opposed to knowing that the Beyonce Renaissance album was what was on all of our, like, anybody with taste was caring about that album. That's what they should have done. I still can't get over that. And in fact,
they also seem bitter, though. They also seem like people who vote against things because they want to put someone in their place,
As Jay-Z basically all but articulated during that awesome and very funny speech where he says, when I get nervous, I tell the truth. What a funny line. Because now everybody else is nervous.
Also, the Renaissance film reminded me of it because we usually hear him rapping, but it's so rare that we hear Jay-Z talk anymore.
Yeah.
I always forget like his voice, his vocal cadence, and just how like amusing it is to hear him talk, to be honest.
Right. Also, I really liked the way he put it, the way he kind of slammed the Grammys obliquely when he said, "We want you to get it right." It's basically like, we know you don't have the critical faculties really to do this, so we want to help you out. But at the same time, it's like, I have to say, like, in a way, good for him and good for Beyonce that he made that speech. But at the same time, it also is so awkward for Beyonce. I don't know. It's like, I don't want to stand there and watch her having to hear that she's like, not rewarded enough or something. I don't know.
Like
it was strange. Yeah.
It feels like it feels like she's embarrassed by it. But I will also say Swifty's being mad about this as if he was dragging Taylor. It's giving more Sagittarius behavior of a hit dog will holler, because there are many people who won Album of the Year over Beyonce.
Right.
You know, and there are many people nominated. Like and obviously Taylor and Beyonce are friends, so why would he be dragging her?
I saw that AMC ad thing they did. Yes, they are definitely knowing each other and aware of each other, certainly.
Yeah.
Man, it is just staggering that there are only 3 black women who've won Album of the Year. And it's Natalie Cole, Whitney Houston. Again, that's an unavoidable album. That was the Bodyguard soundtrack, biggest soundtrack of all time, and The Miseducation of Lauryn Hill. That nobody has won it since then. Not a Missy Elliott, I mean, just... It speaks for itself, is all I can say. It speaks for itself.
Right. And someone had the full list of people who've been nominated since 1999 with 0 wins for Album of the Year. TLC in 2000. Fan Mail, beautiful album. India Arie in 2002. Missy Elliott, 2004. Alicia Keys, 2005. That was kind of wild to me because that album is that's
the
album
Diary
was
of Alicia Keys, right? Yeah, with No One on it and stuff. Yeah,
that album was unescapable. Mariah Carey, 2006. Beyonce, 2010, 2015, 2017, and last year, 2023. Rihanna, 2012. Brittany Howard with the Alabama Shakes in 2016. Which is so interesting because that is also like the kind of album that they'd give it to, and it would feel weird, almost like a John Baptiste, even though Brittany Howard is so fucking amazing.
Yeah.
Like that would feel like one that's not within the mainstream pop culture of a win.
That they would stick their neck out for because it's like legitimate music, you know? Yeah.
Right. But that would have been an amazing win and a win for a black woman. Janelle Monáe in 2019 and this year. Her, 2019, 2020, 2022.
She has been nominated for 3 Album of the Years. This woman is a minute old.
She lives at award shows. You know that.
And she just lived in an incubator where she was born.
She is the Phantom of the Opera.
Yeah.
Okay?
All the people that we thought lived at the Grammys before, Alison Krauss, John Legend, they have been kicked out in favor of her. Yes.
Cardi B, 2019. Lizzo, 2020 and 2023. Jhené Aiko, 2021. Doja Cat, 2022. Mary J. Blige, 2023. And then, of course, SZA this year.
All right. Well, they've got their work cut out for them, question mark? I mean, it seems very crazy to me.
What did you think of SZA's performance?
Really good. I would say it's sort of mid-tier in the ceremony, but again, she's up against icons coming back that you kind of thought you'd never see again. So when Tracy Chapman took the mic and sang Fast Car with Luke Combs, whose version I think is really good. I enjoyed listening to it.
It is.
And we, of course, praised him for the fact that he kept the pronouns in the song. I work in the market as a checkout girl. One of the great lyrics of all time. Just something I want to say. And I worked at the market as a checkout girl. I mean, you just want to say it.
Yeah.
I kind of worried at first that it would be a little bit too slow a performance, but you know what the magic of Tracy Chapman is? The minute she starts singing, you lean in to hear the song. And I want to say, I want to bring this up as like a reminder to other people, like American Idol and the world of belters has like kind of like transformed our brains into believing I'm supposed to grip my seat and lean back when I'm listening to a vocalist. It was so nice to hear somebody who you could tell they come from, this sounds like I'm being derogatory, coffee house culture of like there's like a voice that like fills a room in just a way, you know, again, it's the Dionne Warwicks, the people where it's like I'm listening to the story in their voice and I'm being warmed to it. That was so refreshing and just something we do not have anymore. That like it doesn't
you
feel like something,
hear
you know,
the menthols in their voice.
Yes, precisely.
Like Dionne Warwick on the
who, by the way, was at the Grammys. Yes.
Holding her cigarettes.
Excuse me.
Lighter.
That picture, do you know the way to Commerce Casino? Excuse me. She's like, where are the penny slots?
But Tracy Chapman, what a beautiful performance. And I'm glad that
she was so full of life too. She loved that the people were responding to her too. She just has that like
smile on her face.
She has that shy Berkeley professor vibe where it's she's like I'll go back into my white ivory tower momentarily, but for now I'll show you that I still got the PhD in musicology skills.
She had this beautiful smile on her face when she saw how the audience was responding to her. Luke Combs won me over with this like grin that he had on his face of like, I can't believe I'm singing alongside her. And I think that is exactly what the Grammys should do more
Yes.
of, to be honest. And I mean, the Grammys couldn't really even engineer this because Luke did it himself by doing the cover of it. But the way that it introduced Tracy Chapman to a younger audience, and you have like her Fast Car was like #1 on iTunes now, and I think other people are starting to listen to other music of hers. Like, I mean, that self-titled album is just phenomenal. You know, that's the one that was nominated for Album of the Year, right?
Yeah, she won Best New Artist in the 80s.
Yeah, she won Best New Artist.
I love the video for the title song from Telling Stories 2 that was directed by Herb Ritz. There's a lot of great the acapella song off her debut, Behind the Wall. That's a great song.
Yeah, and it also did wonders for Luke Combs too, because you have an older audience, and not even just an older audience, maybe like even a non-country listening audience who was introduced to him. And now I'm like, I love his voice. I love this deference that he paid to her. And now I feel like I'm going to listen to some Luke Combs.
And speaking of deference, of course, you had Joni Mitchell and somebody who feels like, again, I don't mean to defame Brandi Carlile, who is wonderful, great vocalist, great writer. When I see her with Joni Mitchell, my immediate thought is like Richard Simmons and whoever that woman is who minds the gate. I'm just like, I'm concerned and I don't know the full story, okay? But she is so deferential to Joni Mitchell. Joni Mitchell performs, she's 80 now. Of course she performed both sides now. I have no idea why I thought she would perform anything but. When that performance started, I was worried that...
Girl, the chair spinning around, I was like, are we... at the Tonys?
Yeah. Also, is this murder by death? Like, what is this? We'll get into that in a little later with Truman Capote. But when she started, I was like, oh, is she kind of in control of this moment? Is it going to be too slow? Because it's like already a pretty slow song, and she's even taking it down a notch. That was another performance where I was just like, wow, you are really like wheeled into her vibe and her control and her sense of authority, which has not wavered at all. It was really cool to see that. Also, I really hope people, if you want to get into the versatility of Joni Mitchell, my recommendation is starting with any album. This is somebody who would attack a genre and you would think it didn't belong to her at all. And suddenly she's like in the 80s with Wild Things Run Fast, a rock singer. Or she was a jazz artist in the mid-'70s. Unfortunately, the Don Juan's Reckless Daughter blackface photos have emerged, and they are all over the web again. That is a concern of mine. That's also one of her worst albums, 1977. But I mean, Court and Spark, Blue, Ladies of the Canyon, these are all unbelievable albums. So I hope people really investigate them.
I love those blackface photos.
she really picked a character.
I will also say that another person who you could hear the menthols. Okay,
Yeah.
She's one of the original Sigfluencers.
Oh no, excuse me. I think Joni Mitchell is the only artist in history where if you give me, without any music, just her voice, I can tell you what year it is based on how smoky her voice is. Like, oh, I can. You went down an octave. That's got to be "Help Me" from Court and Spark or whatever. Or People's Parties from Court and Spark.
Of course, I think that. Hold on, I want to double check on this. I don't think that her albums are on Spotify.
Oh, right, because she rebelled against that along with Neil Young, I believe. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't believe that her albums are on Spotify, but they are on Apple Music. So, Turbulent Indigo, that's one that I was revisiting this week.
Yeah, because that's
what an album.
In the 90s, she had a Grammy renaissance. The Grammys decided they hadn't awarded her enough, I think, and they gave her a couple of awards for that, and that has a song called Sex Kills on it. She goes pretty hard. Yeah. Sex
Kills is a great fucking song, and the cover is like of a painting of her. It's very Van Gogh.
Yeah, and she did the painting. She often painted all of her album covers. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Giving you triple threat.
Yeah, quite. Every once in a while, she'll give an interview where she's like, "I'm more of a painter than a musician." Now, in that regard, shut up. What the fuck is that? But
where's the Whitney exhibit?
Yeah, right. And then I feel like there was one other legend. Oh, Annie Lennox. When Annie Lennox appeared and sang that tribute to Sinead O'Connor during the tribute, perfect pairing. Whoever produced the hell out of that. I mean, I said Annie Lennox proves that Fierce and Vulnerable go together. And that album, her first album, Diva, which of course has Why and Walking on Broken Glass on it, remains an all-timer for me. Definitely in my top, I'll say 15.
I mean, speaking of Tracy Chapman and Luke Combs, I mean, remember when Annie reached across the aisle years ago with Your Love with Nicki Minaj?
Oh, yes, of course. Right. Also, there's a performance I can't find online anymore where she did a tribute to Stevie Wonder and she sang My Sharia Moore. Woof. That performance is a 10. Please go and find that.
I love Annie Lennox. And also, shout out to Annie Lennox being the only person this entire award season to call for a ceasefire on stage.
It was really shocking to hear. The
only person.
Yeah. I mean, it's shocking to hear because I hadn't heard it. There's no contemporary. She is the only one.
And of course, you do that during a Sinead tribute.
Right. Certainly.
So anyway, obviously, we love her. What about Stevie?
Stevie, first of all, is always going to give you a little bit of funny, too, because he likes to sit there and riff a little bit. If you watch the We Are the World documentary, The Greatest Night in Pop, which just came out on Netflix, you get some of this, too. I loved he did a tribute to Tony Bennett during the In Memoriam. I will say this. If you're going to do a tribute to Tony Bennett or do a duet with him, with old footage of him, why not use footage of him in his prime? You know what I mean? It was like a later Tony Bennett performance.
You know what? Gaga has all that footage.
Yeah. She has the Prince vault of just Tony Bennett living.
And she wasn't able to be there, so no one else is allowed to touch it.
Right.
Honestly, wouldn't it have been wacky to see Gaga just perched on the piano with Stevie Wonder singing a Tony Bennett song?
Oh my God. Oh, that would have been amazing. Where is she?
Girl, she's in the studio, allegedly recording new music, but I really just think it's ADR for Folie à Deux, Joker 2, or at least music that's in it.
Oh, that's exactly the correct answer. Where is she? In character. That's where she is.
But yeah, I mean, that wasn't my favorite Stevie performance, but I mean, Stevie's always going to give it to you. I've seen Stevie at the Forum. I've seen him at the Ball. Stevie is always great. I'm glad that I've gotten to see Stevie perform in my lifetime.
I'm obsessed with an 80s song.
Songs in the Key of Life, actually.
Oh, really? I'm obsessed with an 80s song of his called Go Home right now. So go and listen to that. I think he performed it on SNL in the 80s, too.
I'll go do that now. Okay.
Ira's leaving the studio. This is actually inconvenient. Okay, what else did we get in terms of performances?
We got, well, speaking of legends, honoring legends, Fantasia Barrino honored Tina Turner. And I have thoughts.
Okay.
Obviously, Fantasia sang down. And it was fun seeing her, doing a step. It was honestly livelier than anything we saw in The Color Purple.
Yes. Also, the stepping she does, what she does on stage is a little bit more akin to Tina Turner than most other people who'd been up for this gig. So actually, that was pretty clever that she got the gig.
Yeah. But I'm tired of hearing Proud Mary.
Right. It's the Dolly Partonification of these people where it's like you would think Tina Turner had two songs. That's what you would think based on what the Grammys and what all these award shows do. And also, of course, it's like, of course, Proud Mary is a good song, but it's also like a cover. It's like not actually her signature thing either. You could say the same thing about Respect and Aretha Franklin. I know, but anyway.
It's also from her era with Ike too. So how about something after that? Edits.
Typical male. Come on, from the album Break Every Rule. Where's that?
It's giving Prince when he died, and we always had to hear When Doves Cry, and it's giving when Madonna did that tribute, and we were like, damn, couldn't she have sung a song that was in her range?
Couldn't she
actually
have sang?
Fun and upbeat?
Yeah. Right.
And for this, when you talk about the popularity of Tina's songs too, even in terms of the Grammys, Proud Mary isn't even the highest. Where was What's Love got to do with it?
Right,
if we're doing with her highest one, or Typical Male, or Fantasia would have murdered The Best.
Absolutely.
Which I feel like has gotten a new sort of lease thanks to it being heavily featured in Schitt's Creek.
Right.
Younger audiences know that. Or We Don't Need Another Hero.
A full medley.
Any of those.
A full medley. Yeah, that would have been nice. Yeah, give us something. Educate the people even a little bit.
But it was nice to see her dancing within the crowd. It's always fun when someone interacts with the crowd. At her little shimmy with Dua Lipa.
That was a good moment for Dua Lipa. She rose to that moment. And she's like, and shimmying is, of course, what she's the Yale at, right? It's she can do that well. And she did that with Fantasia.
I also want to say that I love, once again, Beyonce being the celebrity that Fantasia, when she posted on Instagram the next day, she said, I didn't even see you there, Beyonce. I was in the moment. Thank you so much, Queen, and for smiling at me. And I would love to grace the stage with you or record a song with you, so hit me up.
Put it out there. Also, of course, Beyonce has given this Tina Turner tribute before, so you might automatically think of her for this gig, but of course she has done Proud Mary once and a couple of times.
She was in her best carnival barker look.
Yeah, right.
Just still the white hair. She's going full country now, which really does make me and everyone else obviously think that Act 2 is going to be country themed.
And by the way, there better be an Act 2.
Yeah. It better not be this shit that she always does, where I feel like she is definitely the kind of person who, when she is not feeling something, she just scraps it.
Right. No, I think she could have shunted a lot of this away. I have no idea what happened, but...
But she's dressing so country lately that I feel like she is teasing it to us, and not in an insane way. Because, you know what I also found out? Switchers were saying that for a minute, Taylor's website was down. And if you had looked in the source code for it,
oh God,
it revealed like the album. And who is doing that?
Also, yeah, meaning what? Like, okay, that's really baffling. And two, it's time for everybody to get employed. It's time to stop.
We're looking at website source codes. Okay, dude, we grew up on Swordfish.
Right.
Starring Halle Berry.
I barely saw
Jackman,
the movie source code, let alone this. Not one of Jake Gyllenhaal's best.
Speaking of Jake Gyllenhaal, I saw Roadhouse.
Yeah. Oh, I forgot that came out. Apparently, it's okay.
It's not out yet, I don't think.
Oh, okay.
It's coming out, but he's hot in it. It's great. I really enjoyed it. It's not campy like the original one, but it's sexy and it's good. And I DM'd Jake Gyllenhaal yesterday and I said, come on, keep it. And he will not respond, I'm sure.
Interesting. Yeah. Good technique. The only technique we have. Great.
Well, he also goes to the theater a lot in New York. Next time I see him at a show, he will be getting a tap.
Oh, you're just running up to him
on the
like
shoulder.
John Wilkes Booth style? Okay. Yeah. Watch out, Jake. Also, Maggie Gyllenhaal, come on, keep it. Fucking love Lost Daughter. We'll get into her some other time.
Now we're like Jay-Z.
Yeah.
Do better,
right?
Gyllenhaals. By the way, when you were talking about people giving you like coffee shop vocals, not doing that sort of American Idol belting. What an amazing performance from Billie Eilish.
Oh, you know what? I stand corrected. Somebody you do lean forward to hear. I will say,
okay.
I'm always kind of like...
I love this song.
I subscribe to her, and I think she's a rad celebrity. Seems very cool, and nobody appreciates other musicians more.
Mm-hmm.
The vibe in the songs... I wonder if it's like a little bit like jazz, like I'm just not hearing all the intricacies of it. To me, her thing gets a little repetitive, but I do like the song. I don't love the song. I like the song.
I like the song quite a bit. I'm glad that you at least like it, and even if you don't love it, I think a lot of the anti-what was I made for online is being a little performative. But I will say that what I like about this song is it was giving pop more. She was showing, I can still sing,
yeah.
The girls. Like, I got those vocals. She was putting Renee Rapp on notice. She said, all right, girl, I got those vocals too. But I'm waiting for her to lean in full into that vibe and give us a pop album.
Right.
And I think
that will be amazing because she can fucking do it. She is a great singer. And
she's a great singer, and Phineas is a great fucking producer.
Yeah. No, I call them the ASMR Arpenters, the brother-sister duo who lull us to sleep. Yes.
Yeah, so I mean that moment was really just amazing to me, and I think she just always kills an award show performance, to be honest.
And apparently her green and pink ensemble she wore was a throwback to the 1965, I'm not making this up, Poodle Parade Barbie. My second time using exquisite this episode. Yes, a reference.
I just want to see Billie Eilish walking a poodle now.
Oh, sure. let's do that for an album cover or something. Also, nobody kills a photo shoot like her. She always makes interesting choices.
Some other performances. Travis Scott, very satanic.
That was also there was no vibe there. And right after the entire Joni incredibly overwhelming moment, that performance, I felt like I needed an instruction manual. Like, okay, we're throwing chairs and moving right along. No idea what's happening there.
Yeah, Olivia Rodrigo, who we love. This was fine.
The Vampire, good song. Yeah. Actually, a song that continues to grow on me. It is a really fun song. She only went medium octane with the Carrie bloodshed, and I think we needed a full Suspiria thing.
Yeah, that would have actually killed. It felt very like, okay, you're bleeding. Are you okay?
Yeah.
You need a Band-Aid.
Are you okay?
Burna Boy. I loved Burna Boy's look, but I don't know. And I know it's Burna Boy's. I actually really like Burna Boy, but I feel like it's his sort of vibe to just sort of be what we got on stage. But damn, could we have gotten a single "Give It Up for Brandy Norwood"? I didn't even know that was her at first.
Also, she came right out, and Carmen Sandiego was alive and well. She is not in Dar es Salaam today. She is not in Peking. She is here on stage. Brandy sounded fabulous. Also, Brandy is just somebody you can safely call underrated. She has had several fabulous albums over the years. She had one 4 years ago that we talked about on the show, but of course, Aphrodisiac is fabulous. Of course, The Boy Is Mine is one of the great radio singles. I always argue the rare song where the verses are even catchier than the chorus.
Yeah, and he was underwhelming, in the performance, but I do love 21 Savage. His new album, American Dream, is kind of all I've been listening to all week, and his joint album with Drake, Her Loss, was maybe the best thing that Drake has done in recent years, aside from, slinging his dick around on that private jet today.
Wait, what? I missed this.
Oh, there's leaked videos on Twitter.
No.
So it's a good dick.
Okay, well.
He probably leaked it himself, girl. After his video of work playing at a concert, and he'll say, "No, I don't sing that song anymore. Y'all can sing it yourselves." And everyone dragging him or being like, "Okay, why are you being shady to Rihanna right now?" He was probably like, "Let's get the public back on my side."
Oh, I see. And he's like, I have a secret weapon.
Yeah, my Yankee Candle.
Okay.
Well, I guess his maple candle. He's Canadian. His Mountie Candle.
And we're gonna go ahead and move this along.
Before we say anything about the categories, the last performance of the night was Billy Joel, and I didn't care.
I will say this about Billy Joel. When he walks into a room, it's like the Empire State Building is there. I saw him perform in 2019, and it's like nothing could be more an institution in American music than Billy Joel. So it's cool that he's up, and he's very appreciative of musicians. His vibe is good. His vibe is good. Yeah. The song, of course I'm tepid about it. I can't remember it.
It was a great song. Fred Wexler, the man who kept showing up on screen, who produced it with him, hot as hell.
Good looking man.
So thank you for introducing me to him. He also produced Kanye's Wolves. So, he escaped from hell to be able to work with Billy Joel. So congrats to that. I was just like, we're closing out the show with this. Girl, where Twyla Tharp at?
Yeah.
Can we get some dancing?
Yeah.
Can we get some dancing? Something it's just always interesting to me when the show ends on those moments, like a legacy moment like that. You would just rather get something upbeat.
Right. When I think of the Grammys ending, I think of Dave Grohl working with 6 other legends on the stage, and they're all banging guitars out. You go out on a high note, you're holding your ears.
We also got a commercial for U2 in the Sphere, and I really got to see that show.
Yes. Also, by the way, it's not The Sphere, it's Sphere, which is such a strange marketing choice. The Sphere sounds way better.
Yeah, okay. I'm going to keep calling it The Sphere.
It does feel like they're a little bit trapped there, a la, like Twilight Zone episode stuck in a snow globe.
Ultimately, the categories and the wins, who really cares? It's about the fun speeches. And, I will say that Victoria Monet winning for Best New Artist was fucking rad.
Yes.
I loved her speech.
A little long, but she was funny multiple times, which saves
She was.
it. Yeah.
And a good story about how, she's 34, and how like she's been working in this industry since like 2009 or whatever, and has been grinding and working for other people. And she had this binder that was collecting dust at some other place, and her manager was like, I'm gonna go and work with you. That reminds me of oh my God, who was it? Who was it? Katy Perry's documentary? I think it was Katy Perry's documentary. Wasn't it like a woman who was working with her was talking about how she had stolen like a binder or something out of the record label and ran with it to go and work with her?
Oh, well, we love crimes when they're necessary. Sure.
Yeah. Otherwise, I don't know. Flowers was a big winner of the night. I'm actually kind of surprised that it didn't win more at the end. But the thing about the Grammys we can wrap up on is that a lot of the awards do not happen on camera.
Yeah.
And it's like, I would have loved to see Fred again and Kylie Minogue on stage.
Right. And it was a thrill that Kylie Minogue won. I mean, could anything be more demure and Australian, winning your second Grammy in a career like that? It feels very polite that she would only win 2 Grammys. Padam Padam takes me instantly back to like Fire Island in this past summer. It's not my favorite song of hers, but it's just so nice that she had that kind of like kitsch moment in front of everybody where we all got to reevaluate that she is so consistent as a pop star. And when I saw her in Vegas a couple weeks ago, she sounds better than ever. It sounds so obvious. She's like Carly Rae Jepsen. The people that know her know all of her songs, like them all truly equally, and then she performs them and she sounds better than she does on the record.
Okay, I gotta see that too then. And Mariah Carey announced a new Vegas thing too.
Yes, which I think I would go and see. I wonder if it would be different than the number ones thing she did or whatever, like what her strategy would be. She's somebody who's very interested in bringing underrated things out of her catalog, I think. So I feel like I hope she makes interesting choices here.
When I saw her holiday show in New York at Madison Square Garden, there was a segment where she did a bunch of songs, throwback ones, and some of the emancipation ones that she picked and E equals MC squared ones she picked too were unexpected. So she does love to throw out fun things for the fans.
Yeah, right. Well, of course, she like wrote all of them too. So if I had an ego and I were Mariah Carey, I'd say, well, I wrote all this shit too. You better understand that. Yeah.
Last comment too, Miley Cyrus, such a fucking star. I loved her moment when she said, don't act like y'all don't know the words to this song.
The amount of comments she stuck into the song as she performed it, she was having such a fucking blast up there. The comment about, I didn't forget anybody, but I did forget my underwear. I mean, just like, come on.
Well, that was shade.
To?
Her father.
Oh, I see. Yes.
There's been, like a split between the mom and the dad. Like, I forget like the whole drama of it, but she named everyone except for Noah and her dad, and then said, I don't think I forgot anybody.
Love that.
Except my underwear. And then walked off stage.
Cute. And also, by the way, shout out to the fact that she looked exactly like Jane Fonda in 5 different eras of her career on that stage. It was Barbarella. It was the China Syndrome. Coming home. It's accepting the Oscar for her father, Henry. It's L'Oreal campaign from the 2010s. It really was a retrospective of the greatness of Jane Fonda.
Let's get her in a movie again.
Yeah.
Let's get Miley in a movie again.
How about the 2 of them? Yeah.
Yeah.
Jane Fonda, after 80 for Brady, said she wouldn't do any projects unless they were quality. Crazy. So let's get them together. Yeah.
They are sort of giving like the Keke Palmer, Angela Bassett.
Yes.
Right? They're both sort of, you know what?
Ding ding.
Big business with all 4 of them. Remake.
Nothing wrong with Big Business. That needs to be taught to the teens. You want to see Lily Tomlin and Bette Midler not only playing twins but wearing wild shoulder pads? Welcome to heaven.
Yeah, mothers and daughters mashup. Also, were you not afraid of what might fall out of Miley Cyrus's purse when she opened it on stage and it was dangling?
Oh, yeah, because she's a rowdy girl.
I was like, girl, what's up in there?
Yeah.
Just bottles of Fireball fall out. Anyway, that's the ceremony. This was, you know what? a really good Grammys.
Totally. Again, we didn't have to contrive topics to talk about here. There was so much begging to be talked about. It was a lot of fun. Great ceremony. Definitely one of the best in years.
And last comment about the Grammys, we talked about Celine Dion and Taylor, but Celine Dion looked fucking amazing. Law Roach came out of quote-unquote retirement. I feel like Law Roach has worked so much for someone who's allegedly retired. He's Cher. He's always doing a comeback tour, but she looked great. The Bob?
Oh, please.
Nothing wrong with a Bob.
Margot Tenenbaum. That was, it was looking sharp. As in, like, ow, I hurt myself.
Yeah. But let's segue from that French royalty into Juliette Binoche. We will be right back to talk to this living icon. We are honored to have this guest here today. She is a renowned actress the world over who's worked with legendary auteurs like Jean-Luc Godard, André Teixeira, Claire Denis, Olivier Assayas, and Krzysztof Kieslowski, among others. American audiences know her from her classic films like Chocolat and The English Patient. Affectionately known as La Binoche in her home country of France, we're so lucky she is back on our screens in the incredible, vulnerable new film, The Taste of Things. Please welcome to keep it, the magnificent Juliette Binoche.
What a presentation.
You deserve it.
Yes, absolutely. This movie is exquisite. It's just the only word to describe this movie. But I could not believe watching all the intricate camera choreography in this movie, all the amazing glimpses of the food, all the amazing acting, that you only had a day of rehearsal before actually shooting this movie. And then I thought, is that something you actually prefer, going into a movie with no rehearsal?
Yes, but before that we had some videos where we could see how the cook, how the chef was preparing everything. So memory-wise, I had it in me. And after that, it was just a matter of organizing and, knowing how we were gonna, who was doing what. And we had the right hand of the chef who was there to help us, direct whether, some of the gestures were not right. And we had to also follow the rhythm that the camera was, looking at things and traveling as well, because it was mostly like a big brush, going around. And so we had to organize it the day before shooting, who was doing what, and the pace of it all.
I don't think I've seen just such intricate cooking and, food displayed like this on screen. Maybe said something like Babette's Feast, which also showed the making of a French dinner. Just want to know yourself, what is your relationship with, I guess, French food? Were you coming in watching these videos being like, I absolutely have no idea how food is prepared like this way? Or were you familiar with it just over the years of living in France?
No, as a mother, I've been cooking, and in France we cook because it's part of our way of living, and so I'm not intimidated in front of veggies and stuff, and a stove. I just put my hands into it, and it's part of of what it is, and so you forget. And as actors, you've got to throw yourself into it. So I was, and in cooking, you do something before and you do something after, and there's a chronology you've got to respect, and that makes at the end of it, a whole kind of amazing dish, because what comes after what. It's really about that cooking, exquisite cooking. That's how I took it anyway. And I had a wonderful person telling me, no, do it more like this or like that. And that's easy. You're just following the steps of the person who's helping you. So I would cook like that every day for sure, because it would take too much time. And I love cooking, I love eating, but I'm not passionate enough to spend as much time.
I want to ask about one of my favorite things about this movie is just watching you react to the food you're eating. And how much of that is your genuine reaction, and how much of that is you having to add something that you're not experiencing as you taste the food?
Oh, you talking about when I'm cooking or when I'm actually eating?
Eating the food, as in, because like your reactions to eating the food are so amazing.
It blends together. As an actor, you don't know what, you're being real and truthful to the moment. And what's in you, you know the story. But I think if I remember well, because of course I forgot almost everything. But if I remember well, I did genuinely react to what I was feeling because the food was amazing. And Hung, the director, really wanted us to have the experience of exquisite cuisine. So that was the challenge of the first AD and the director and everybody and the chef and the right hand of the chef to prepare it just in time so it was coming at the right temperature and also good food. You eat it just after it's been cooked. You don't wait for hours, before eating it, if you see what I'm saying.
I recently had the chance to see you again on like a big screen Friday in New York. They were re-showing your film, Let the Sunshine In, by Claire Denis. And I just wanted to ask you a bit about what it's like working with, I guess, particularly French directors, what sort of sensibility you think that happens on set or in the direction of it that's different from, when you've worked in maybe American productions or even the taste of things. I know Tran is Vietnamese born, but also a French director, lived in France. Mm-hmm. Yes.
Mm-hmm. I think the expectations are probably a little different, I would say, because maybe in America, in the US, there's a sense of the results, of having success and making money. And it still exists I would say in Europe and in France, but it's not the expectation. I think the quality of films counts more in a way to start with, because I think that's the way we are trained in our minds, something like that. I don't think when Claire Denis is working, she's thinking, is it going to have success? She doesn't care. And me as an actress, I feel the same. I'm more into the moment, in the present moment, what to try and find a truthful way of telling the story, which is true as well, of course, in America. But I think there's behind it, there's the need of money is probably because you don't have the help we have in France money-wise with productions. There's a whole system that cinema is being supported by the government. There's money for a few films, a year to get going. So there's some help. And I think because in America you don't have help, if your film doesn't make any money, you cannot do another film. As in France, we don't have that, because if there's quality in the film, you will be helped.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I even think of Three Colors, which you starred in, the Three Colors Blue. That, I believe, was a commission by France, to show, what the country is about. And that seems like something that is just very specific to France versus films that we make here in the United States.
I don't know if it was a commission. Maybe I don't understand that term, but it was just the producer, Marine Karmitz, who wanted to have Kieslowski, working with Kieslowski, and he wrote 3 scripts, and it happened. But it was not It was the idea of Kieslowski. It was not, you know, a sort of an idea to put France into on a pedestal at all. It was just 3 stories, and yeah, and Kieslowski wanted to work in France. And I remember when we were working, he just wanted to do just 1 take for each shot. And I said, why don't, I was asking to do another take because I wanted to explore it, and also I wanted to make it better. And I had to bargain with him every single time because he was ready to do another take when there was a technical problem. But he was, and I asked him, why don't you want to do another take? I don't understand. And he said, well, because in Poland, I only did 1 take because film is expensive. You don't do a second take. And also on the editing room, it's easier because you have only 1 choice. I said, but you're in France. You can do many takes. And so we laughed about it, as you are laughing now, in order to, you know, but I had to fight a little bit.
I have to bring up the fact that in this movie, The Taste of Things, your main co-star is your ex-partner, Benoit Magamel, and you have a child together. And I didn't realize until I saw the screening in your Q&A afterwards last week that you had sort of spoken over the past couple of decades, but not really. I cannot think of another situation where actors have reunited in that way on the silver screen. Like none are coming to mind. What was that filming experience like? Was it at all, I don't know, healing? I don't know what the word for that would be.
It was, I really took it as a gift because we could express emotions through someone else's words, and it felt wonderful to not being stuck, you know, in not seeing each other, not speaking to each other, to be able to go into a movement of expressing, you know, through a medium, you know, the art of cinema, and being able to be next to him and tell a story, a beautiful story, and I think it was, on a certain level, it was healing, but it was mostly healing for our daughter. And that was, for me, very important to make it happen. But it's life-giving, this gift to us, you know. It's beyond expectation. It's beyond, I never thought I was going to work with Benoit again. So it was a great, present.
And you've had, the gift of so many brilliant co-stars that you've acted opposite of, so many brilliant directors. You were just talking a bit about, that 1 take situation, and I'm sure that was learning on the fly how to do something like that. What would you say have been some of the best, I guess, sort of acting gifts that you've learned or picked up in your time from, your first film to where you are now? Like, has your process changed? Has it stayed the same through each film, or do you just sort of switch it up depending on what kind of project it is?
Well, you asked so many questions in one question. And it would take a little more time than what we have, to answer that. And I would have to think about it. I have to say I never prepare the same way because it's my way to deal with it, because it keeps it alive, and I don't anticipate in knowing how I'm going to prepare. My needs are coming real to me just when, okay, I'm going to be shooting, whether it's 2 weeks or whether it's 3 months or whether it's a year. So depending on the the time I have before shooting, on this one I didn't prepare because for 2 reasons. Because I knew Benoit, and we've been cooking together before in our lives. And also I did some period films before, so it was not like a new thing. And also cooking, I've been cooking my whole life. So it felt like I've got to go into it with a thinking that it was going to happen. And I think for this film, what I chose to do is to retrieve, to go away in a way to let things happen by themselves, confronting Benoit, confronting the making of food, confronting whom's expectations. And so for me, it was more like letting it open, letting it be, let it be what it is, without trying to being willful or thinking too much, or, you know, I wanted to be alive and it's so magical, if I may say, if it makes any sense to you. Because, you know, also because before starting this film, I was preparing Chanel. That's the TV show I did afterwards. And it was a lot of work for me to do because her energy is very specific, you know, I felt. And also I had a lot of books to read, because it's been, you know, so many books has been written on her life. And I was starting to shoot the TV show for 7 months, a month before. So I just finished The Taste of Things. And then a month after, I was studying the Chanel TV show. And it was like such a difficult thing to do for me. Then I thought, okay, it's almost the same period of time, but it's totally different. You know, it's a different take on everything. You know, the Eugenie I'm playing in The Taste of Things, there's a serenity that goes with it, yet there's death that goes with it. There's this long-lasting relationship. So the layers are very kind of peaceful in a way, even though death is coming. But then the need of giving life, the need of excelling of what she does, which is cooking, becomes stronger in a way. So it was not simple, but it was clear in my mind. So I just wanted to let it happen in the jump of not knowing, which I love as actors, because it's always should be like that you don't know what's going to happen. As Chanel, it was a long train, you know, trip, the 7 months shooting, and you know, having the script that they were coming one after the other. So I'd never really been on this kind of roller coaster of shooting.
I was just rewatching Clouds of Sils Maria, which if people haven't seen it, is with Juliette Binoche and Kristen Stewart and Chloe Grace Moretz. And that's one of the few movies I've ever seen where I kind of got the sense, and this may be artificial, that I was getting a glimpse inside the mind of what it's like to be an actor. And watching that back, was there anything vulnerable about playing an actress? Because you're the kind of person we want to play an actress, because there's such depth there. We just want to understand it.
Right. But I was playing an actress who had ego issues.
Yes, a few.
Yeah, it was quite pride. There was a pride to deal with. And so that was fun. It made it a little more a twist of a comedy feeling, which was, you know, that we didn't discuss that with Olivier, but I thought it was, you know, because the ego is so expanded in a way, you know, the narcissism can be really in a very dangerous place, if I may say. So it was fun just to encounter these big questions with the age coming, and, you know, the assistant coming to her life and being a mirror to her own life. So it was fun to play. It was fun to be also working with Kristen and Chloe very much.
I would have to say one of my favorite roles of yours. I just finally saw the film Rendezvous, and it's such a wild character in film too. And I was, you know, just revisiting some of your earlier work too, like the characters that you were playing. How do you feel like sort of looking back at these roles now,
Well,
you know? And is that something that you feel like you would still like to experiment with, or are you happy that, you know, some of those wilder roles are sort of like in your past and you're happy to leave them there?
wow, that was like 40 years ago.
Yeah.
So, yeah, almost 40. And it was my first chance, you know, and I just jump into it. Well, first of all, because André Téchiné at the time was like the director, and he was working with young actors and revealing a lot of young actors. And so I jump into it at the same time. It was rough because there were a lot of nude scenes, you know, but when I saw the film again, not that long time ago, it was rough. It was, I didn't like my acting. I felt it was too, there was something that was not mature yet, of course, because I was so young, but I wish I could replay that.
So you would replay? Would you? That's interesting.
No, I wouldn't.
About
It's
Clouds
done.
of Sils
I
Maria.
wouldn't.
Okay,
She's done.
so you're
Thank you
like
very
your
much.
Clouds of Sils Maria character. Like you wouldn't want to replay a role or do something in a stage show that you've done before.
No, because first of all, the years of the 20s in my life have been the most difficult ones. And so you don't want to go back to learning what it feels like to be abandoned, or what it feels like to feel jealousy, or what it feels like. Not that you don't feel that afterwards, but the first times are bigger than afterwards. So, you know, the separations or falling in love and feeling betrayed and all that stuff. It's so hard. And you've got to learn the lessons, you know, you've got to learn what it feels like in order to change your values in a way. And so acting wise, it's the same. It's you're learning, you know, I've been miserable on Damage. I've been miserable on the, you know, the English, Les Amants du Pont Neuf, Lovers on the Bridge was very rough to do. Those years have been, you know, trying to survive, trying to evolve, and you know, I lied and seeing the consequences of lying and all this stuff you're learning, like playing the piano, of all the notes as a human being. And so when you come out of this a little bit, it feels so freeing. And so no way I'm going back to that glue of emotions.
That you just brought up Damage, which is literally my favorite erotic thriller of all time. I think the acting is amazing, but you, as people can't see you right now, you just reacted with what looks like horror to me.
No, it's rough.
Why?
You didn't. You went through the films, but you didn't read my interviews at the time.
Oh God.
No, well, it was hard to play with Jeremy Irons, but that's not, you know, that's not I've said that many times, and probably too many times, and I want to turn the page now. And it's already turned, you know, because we spoke with Jeremy, but probably I was horrible to him, you know, on the other way around. I don't know, but for me, it was very hard to work with him. And Louis Malle, who was the director of the film, was very oblivious of what was going on. And so he was going through heart issues and health issues. And so, you know, I was just disappointed, but I couldn't blame him. But I felt very much by myself. Rupert Graves, the actor who's playing my son of Jeremy, was just wonderful to work with, and thank God he was around, and we could, you know, laugh and enjoy the work. Not that many times I've been through that kind of a nightmare. So, but it's true that sometimes it happens. It happens, and you've got to learn how to still be on the work and still, you know, carry on and love doing what you're doing. Yeah, because it's an interesting situation being an actor. You've got to use your being, you've got to use your ego, you've got to use everything you have possibly as a human being. And yet you've got to give yourself in a place that has no ego. You've got to give your soul.
That really makes me think of Miranda Richardson's speech in that movie a lot differently, though. When she's like excoriating him, I'm like, oh, okay, maybe that comes from a genuine place. Who knows? Okay.
No, you've got to give your soul. You've got to give your being, your body, when it needs to be given, but yet being cautious that it doesn't being taken in a place that it would be not for the film. So it's you really needed to have the sense, use your intuition so strongly, and because you need to be respected, but you've got to give yourself entirely. That's the equilibrium that is difficult to find.
On the opposite end of that spectrum, then, is there any scene partner that you would say that you've worked with where you feel like that is truly one of the best just working relationships you've been able to have on a film? Like, you remember it very fondly?
Most of, I would say, apart from two actors who were very difficult to work with, and I named one, most of the time I really enjoy working with the actors and actresses I've been, bumping into in films. It's been mostly the love of sharing, because it's really about that. Throwing yourself into the moment of sharing, even though you're playing conflicts and all. There's it's the trust you've got to give each other, and the love you've got to share, because it's all about giving to the world, giving to the audience, giving to a hint of awareness, of evolution, of giving emotions so people can feel, linking different layers of yourself, so people can take this in their lives, in their soul, in their heads, in their hearts. It's really why you're doing it. Because if it's only for only egoistical reasons, it doesn't go far. It's not worth it.
I want to then just ask a bit about, you were nominated for a Tony for one of my favorite plays, Betrayal, by Harold Pinter. What is your relationship like to acting when you are performing for people every night on stage, as opposed to just doing it on a film set?
What's great about acting is it's like wine. It needs, in my opinion, years are helping you to go deeper and deeper. And when you hear Glenn Gould, playing Bach at the beginning of his life and towards the end, it's really, he would play the same things but totally differently. And it really tells you how much of maturity you need. And I think for theater, it's even stronger in that way, because it's not only you giving to the audience, you receiving from the audience, and the dialogue that is happening in silence somehow is really the moment. Because I think in the present, inside of the present, and theater is about present, being present at the same moment together. There's a transmission of something magical, but that's within the silence. And it's not only the acting, performing and showing off, what he wants to do and what he wants to show. I think that for me, theater is not that. It's about something that's going to happen together. And it's within this silence of, okay, we listen to something different. And I think the audience is creating the show as well. If you know what I'm saying. In the cinema, you cannot have that, because you can have that with the DP, with the crew, with the director, because it's happening in that moment, and it's being filmed. In the theater, it's the present time. It's a different deal. And so there's something that is so intoxicating because of that co-creation of that, together. in that present time. And I think acting is really the art of present, or any art should be the art of present. What does it mean to be really present in the moment? That's, for me, that's the real question.
Before we sign off, I just want to say, you winning an Oscar does not begin to scratch the surface of your talent, but your speech you gave where you acknowledged Lauren Bacall, who at that time was like considered a front runner to win, I thought was just one of the classiest moments ever at the Oscars. And it's like, it's cool to watch that speech back. And by the way, if people haven't watched The English Patient recently, it's just a scintillating performance. So congrats on that whole era of your life.
Oh, that's kind. Thank you. Yeah. I was going to give it to her because also you thinking back, those actresses or actors who have been working their whole life, and you want to give a special prize to them. You want to give, and because I couldn't see her, she didn't raise her arm, so I thought, okay, then I'll keep it. That's what that's what I was thinking in me. I was thinking, okay, then I'll keep it then. But it's at the end, she came to me and she said, "Well, you stole my prize." And I said to her, "You didn't want it."
Thank you so much for being here, Juliette, and it's always just a pleasure to watch you on the screen. It was a pleasure talking to you today.
Yeah, I'm happy to. Thank you very much for having me.
Okay, we are back with our favorite segment of the episode, Keep It. Louis, what's yours?
Okay, so as I brought up earlier, there's this new Netflix documentary called The Greatest Night in Pop, which is about how Lionel Richie, Michael Jackson, Quincy Jones put together We Are the World, which as a song, I'll say it's in the A-B+ range. You do have to gulp a little bit while singing some of these lyrics, but it is an incredibly catchy song. And it's of course in the tradition of, Band-Aid, Do They Know It's Christmas? Talk about another song where if you look at the lyrics, you're like, oops, embarrassing. Oops, we need to not be talking about people in Africa this way. Moving on.
Do they know it's Christmas? Yeah. Do they have calendars?
Right. It's a crazy song. It's a crazy song. But anyway, like a lot of these documentaries that are coming out on streaming recently, the Bee Gees documentary, the one on Donna Summer, etc. It is just toasting these people. It's not really critical. You're not getting the sense of this is going to be winning an Oscar or anything like that. That said, it is so much fun to watch this come together. People agree to the concert. They're going there after the AMAs, so there's this trickling of people from one ceremony to another. You watch as time is going by and people are getting restless and they order chicken and waffles for everybody to eat. So there's a lot of fun anecdotes about being there. And by the way, Lionel Richie, who I guess has just been 51 his entire life and remains 51. It's crazy to see him just standing there, being the same, sounding the same. The richness of his voice is not.
He looked so good at the Grammys.
Yes, he looked amazing. That said, watching this documentary, they did not address a number of things that I find problematic. And those three things are, number one, you're telling me you got Bruce Springsteen to do a talking head for this documentary and you couldn't find Kim Carnes. Where is she? Where is Kim Carnes? It's been a million years since we've seen this woman, the Grammy winner for Betty Davis Eyes, former New Christy Minstrel with Kenny Rogers, also part of We Are the World. Where was he? Two, no explanation for the fact that Dan Aykroyd is just in the background of We Are the World. We just don't know why he's there. They don't bring it up. I guess it's awkward for everybody. I have no idea. But of course, this was 1984, 1985, where he's one of the biggest stars in the world. But speak to that moment. I want to know why he's there. And lastly, they have all this awesome footage of Michael preparing for We Are the World and doing a couple of takes and talking to the engineers. It's really cool and shocking to see. And of course, he's in an imperial thriller mode, so he looks like the very picture of the biggest celebrity of all time. And you're not going to address that LaToya is in the room? How did this happen? You got to explain how LaToya got there and also what she contributed to the record, because I'm not really hearing it on the record. You know what I'm saying?
Does she have a talking head?
No, she's not there.
You know what? She's still in Mr. Trump's office.
Yeah.
Trying to win The Apprentice.
Right. She's got to clinch this season. Yes, right. What an amazing. What an amazing season of television.
Dee called her cast for the ghost.
Oh my God. The one moment of self-critical reflection that occurs in the movie is Sheila E. does an interview, and she talks about how they got her in the studio, and then she felt like they were using her to get to Prince, who of course never shows up. But I just want to say about Sheila E., not that she needs this encouragement from me or anybody. At the AMAs right beforehand, she gives a performance that is so legendarily electrifying. Please look up this performance. There is no second one of Sheila E. I know I give that compliment all the time. The drumming, the stage presence, the stage wear, she's a virtuoso. There's a reason Prince was obsessed with her. There's a reason.
Mm-hmm. There's a reason Bruce Springsteen named his band after her.
And the Sheila E. Band. That's right. Yes.
They lived on her street.
We're Sheila's boys. That's really all I have to say. I found it really entertaining. 90 minutes gets you acquainted with the fact that when We Are the World premiered, it was on every radio station in the world at the same time. So you would turn it on and then turn to another radio station. It's like War of the Worlds or something. It took over. So we have not had a moment like that since. Total monoculture.
But did they have the radio in Africa?
They brought their first radio.
Do they know We Are the World is playing in Africa?
That would be a great follow-up single. Do they know We Are the World is playing?
Okay. I actually have two keep-its, to be honest.
Okay.
One's a short one.
All right.
One is a very Lewis coded.
Okay.
So I just discovered Connections on the New York Times.
This is a game involving 4 sets of words. There's 16 terms on a grid, and it's your job to group them in terms of connected groups of 4. And sometimes there'll be 5 things that fit in a group, but only 1 that fits in another group. So anyway, it's a word game that you sort out.
Yeah, I like it. I feel like I want more from it. Just the 4 groups of words that you're figuring out. I'm playing it, and then it's either, okay, I haven't figured this out, and then it's like, okay, the game is over. Or it's, I want another way to be communal with the friends and figure out like who's playing it with me or something.
Maybe you can compete with your friends at the same time and see who can get it fastest or something.
I did it at dinner once, but it's I don't know. I like the game. I kind of want just more versions of it, to be honest. It's not a real keep it. I like the game. I just want more of it. But I feel like you have thoughts about it as a game person.
Well, there's a controversy around Connections because the game show I constantly talk about from England, Only Connect, which is a game show where you have to figure out what 4 seemingly unrelated things have in common, and you and 2 teammates sit there and try to solve it on camera. The second round of the game, or the third round of the game, is Connections. They stand in front of a wall with 16 terms and have to divide them into 4 connected groups. It is fair to say the New York Times basically just stole it, as in the font is the same. The look of the bubbles is the same. And in fact, the host of the show, Victoria Coren Mitchell, messaged the New York Times and said, "Are you aware this has been on television for 15 straight years?"
Oh, okay. The lying New York Times.
Yes, right. It is very jarring. As all Only Connect fans would point out, it's not mistakable. If you have ever seen the show, you know this is exactly how this goes. I think the New York Times responded with something like, "Well, there's no patent on grouping things together or whatever." It's like, yeah, but it's the same game. Once you're down to 2 groups, you only get 3 chances to figure it out. Like it's the same thing.
The gray lady sounds like the shady lady.
Yeah. What's your other keep it?
Okay, my other keep it is Bravo related.
Okay.
You code it. Yes. Well, actually, a little bit related to you. You know who I'm about to talk about. Kandi Burruss is exiting the Real Housewives of Atlanta after 14 fucking seasons on the show.
Jesus Christ.
Basically, what's happened is last season wasn't great. It'd been like a couple sort of iffy seasons, but last season really was just sort of like a bad season of the show. The show is going to be rebooted. Andy Cohen has promised that it's going to be a stellar cast. It's going to basically be rumored to be led by Kenya Moore and Portia Williams. Portia, who has been on this show, before I interviewed her. They're going to be sort of leading this new era, probably with a largely new cast of women. My keep it, however, goes to people who have been pretending like Kandi didn't contribute much to the show, because in the last few seasons, definitely post Phaedra leaving in season 10, Kandi's sort of been this elder stateswoman. You know, she's not really contributing a lot to the drama, but she's sort of been a person who's there and grounds the show. There's just been a lot of people pretending like Kandi was boring, Kandi wasn't offering a lot to the show. And I'm like, Kandi absolutely was the Real Housewives of Atlanta in the same way that Nene was. You know, there aren't a lot of one-liners that you're throwing out from Kandi, but she definitely had fun, dramatic moments. It's season 2 when she was on the show. She was dating someone named AJ. He died before the reunion.
Even I knew
was
that.
killed.
Yes,
he was killed before the reunion, and she still went through with that reunion, like put her whole life out there for people to consume it. She fell in love on the show. Her current husband, Todd, used to work for the production company that was making Real Housewives of Atlanta. So we got to see their love story blossom. She had brought her mom. Mama Joyce has always been a staple of the show. She's had spinoffs. She's never backed away from drama on the show. She's had a lot of iconic, funny moments with Nene. We see each other fighting with Marlo when Marlo was always coming for how she makes her money and being a sugar mama to her man Todd. I just think that Kandi Burruss has been an icon before Real Housewives of Atlanta, but also she helped make that show what it was. And I think that, you know, people should put more respect on Kandi Burruss's name.
Oh, and also ASCAP Songwriter of the Year winner, please. There should be different versions of respect on her name. Come on now.
She also is the reason why we have that goofy thing of housewives trying to make singles and
Tardy
be
for the
stars because she
party.
did Tardy for the Party.
Yes.
Come on.
Genius. Well, unfortunately, you said the magic word, Phaedra, and now we have to talk about the traitors. Okay.
Not my Burgerlicious. Not my Burgerlicious. She has a quote every week that I am obsessed with.
Yes. Also, so she really, Dan Giesling, who is a Big Brother legend, he was one of the traitors this season. That he attempted to turn on the traitors once the heat was on him, and he tries to get Phaedra out. And Phaedra, you are very aware in that moment, is an attorney and turns it right back on him, and he is absolutely decimated. It needs to be said about this show, though, it is still not a brilliant reality show. Like, watching the good people, the faithfuls, have to suss out the so-called traitors, they just still have nothing to go off of, I don't think. And, like, the whole business of once one traitor is out, then it's likely that the traitors will recruit another one. And it's just like, there's no dramatic tension there for me. I feel like there needs to be firm sides and also firm tasks for the traitors to do and for the faithfuls to do. I think it just needs to be more like The Mole to be a better show. I love the casting. Yeah. The casting is great, and I love seeing. I'm newly acquainted with Parvati as a reality TV show staple, so it's cool to watch her and her like suspicious Jessica Biel looks.
Squinting like Mr. Magoo.
Yes, right.
I will say that has always sort of been there's been amazing seasons of the show. I think the second season of the UK version just wrapped, and it was amazing. Better than the first season of the UK one.
Australia is amazing too. I want to get into that.
Yeah. But there's still the basic problem that it's so slanted for the traitors, and it feels like hard as a faithful, and when you're killed and picked off in a way that just feels sort of random and at the whim of the traitors, it feels like it's not evenly balanced.
It's not a game.
And what I like about The Mole is that you're doing a quiz at least each week of like who you think the mole is. And if they stole that or some version of that, I think that there should be some sort of element where
merit is a part of why you're eliminated. Yes.
Yeah.
Right.
If you are in the bottom of people who sort of don't know who a traitor is, then you're eligible to be murdered.
Yeah. I think it's way more of a game that you would play at a party than should be televised. That's just what I think about the game. It would be funner to play it.
Yeah. Absolutely. The same way like Bodies, or like werewolf. You know, like these are games that we already play with our friends.
Yeah.
But if you filmed yourselves playing bodies, where's the tension in that?
Yeah, no, there's none. There's none. A bit of a concern for me.
Yeah.
I will continue watching.
Of course. I mean, the celebrities are delivering. So, all right, that is our show this week. Once again, shout out to the fucking Grammys for actually giving us something to fucking talk about this week.
Definitely. And thank you to Juliette Binoche for even acknowledging us as human beings. It's really above and beyond. Very shocking. A thrilling moment for both of us to talk to her.
I mean, what I didn't say to her, though, and is just that Juliette Binoche, whenever you see her on camera, she just looks cool.
Yes. Oh, no, she's intimidating. She's an intimidating presence. Yeah.
But the haircut, like the short haircut she always has, she always looks cool. And in Clouds of Sils Maria, she starts out with a long haircut. And then when she gets off that train after the person she was going to honor is dead, she's got the bob.
Right. Conscious behavior. Yes.
Yeah.
Precisely.
We'll see you next week.